Hello, this is Starseed Jason Moss. This video clip I'm going to briefly discuss some of the aspects of a starseed as I have perceived it and experienced it on my own in the awakening process. In the last couple of years, since 2010 when my memories began to resurface of having experiences in my past, experiences that at first shocked me and I found difficult to cope with and come to terms with, I found myself at once beginning to also remember other things. Memories. I mean, when I say memories, I'm not talking about something I fabricated on my own, something that I invented, or I'm trying to plug some bruised ego somehow in some way. This is a memory, as you'd remember anything else. The day your first kiss, your first riding a bicycle. Memories. In the beginning, when I began to awaken to these memories, and they came rather suddenly, they began to resurface to me. My first reaction was, now I'm not a psychologist, but I have some experience in dealing with people with grief loss. I have volunteered for this in the past. So I have some idea of, how the workings of the mind and therapy and things like that. I'm not like some of these people I speak to on Facebook who are full-blown psychologists and certified behavioral scientists. I understand and respect their background. But when I initially began to remember this, my first reaction was, okay, this is a memory, and there's two ways to deal with this. I said to myself, Jason, the first thing you can do, I'm sitting there, I was thinking this to myself, is if I try to run from this memory, no matter how uncomfortable, shocking, or unusual it might be. When I say shocking or uncomfortable, I'm not suggesting any fear, just that it was an anomaly. It's an anomalous memory that I couldn't explain, that didn't fit within the confines of my life, my understanding of my reality around me, and my memories I know I've had growing up. These are memories as real as any other memories I've had, and it is an experience that did happen. These experiences are real. I found myself confronted with that two-way path. The first way you go down could be to try to bury all this and say, look, there's another explanation for this. I'm suffering from some kind of a breakdown. There's got to be a reason this is happening. This is just not what's going on here. But the other path, and that would have been a very counterproductive path to follow with these memories resurfacing. And I advise people, I really warn you very, very much, out of running from something that seems to frighten you at first. I really, just from my experience of talking to people and speaking to professionals throughout my lifetime, because I've dealt with that when I was in a search and rescue team, we had to deal with bereavement all the time. I served 5 years in North Central Texas search and rescue under Colonel Frank C. Clark, who died this year in March at the age of 64 from liver failure. He was a kind, sweet man, a loving man. He founded the team. He served in the fire service for over 25 years. He's been a paramedic for 10 years. I'm giving you some background, quick background here. I've been a firefighter for 4 years. Mixed in with that time as a search and rescue person. So it was a total of 8 years of service in the rescue services. My background includes 8 diplomas with the Emergency Management Institute, FEMA. I am certified to the Federal Emergency Management Agency. I am a qualified intermediate firefighter. I am a basic and advanced first aider. My qualifications are wide-ranging. I know how to handle disasters on a wide scale, anything from an earthquake to tornado, you name it. We chase tornadoes in Texas in the search team, not for glory, but if a tornado rips a neighborhood apart, we were the search and rescue team on call. I was promoted by Frank Clark to the rank of lieutenant, then captain. I was a navigator and held the rank of captain. That rank is indefinite. It is recognized by FEMA. The federal government recognized our search team. So technically I still hold that rank. And I am still recognized by the federal government as having been a part of that team. I am registered with that entity. The team no longer operates and functions, though segments of the team took off to other now very widespread search and rescue teams in North Texas. So I've given you a brief background of my life. Being able to recall something and have memory of an event is very important in my line of work, in search and rescue. I was dealing with law enforcement and sheriff's departments of the state of Texas, federal authorities, and the military on a routine basis. Whenever we found a deceased person on a scene, you had to give them explicit detail, every detail of what you saw, what you dealt with, your reaction to this, how you entered the scene, who was there. You had to draw pictures. You had to do everything. You had to fill out a report extensively. Everything was very, very much on, and I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I'm not taking anything, no medication. Last time I had any alcohol, I don't remember. Might have been a few years ago, 5 years ago. So having a clear, level head and nerves of steel are very important in what I did. I like to give that bit of background like that because I want you to know who you're dealing with. You know, you're not dealing with somebody that I'm not suggesting people are making things up out there, but as far as I'm concerned, when you talk to me, this is who you're dealing with. All right, you had to have what I call Air Force fighter pilot nerves of steel, gridiron steel nerves, because you come across a lot of bodies in my line of work. Okay, you come across old and young. You know, we saw kids, we saw elderly, we saw ordinary people out in the woods who had expired. They were no longer around. And we had to, and some of these were murder victims, and it was an ugly scene. Let me tell you something right now. It was an ugly, ugly scene. We came across this often. So I had people that ended up leaving. They couldn't handle it, couldn't cope with it. But families depend on you. The public depends on you to have those kind of hard, razor-sharp steel nerves when you deal with this. The public needs you. Now, when these memories resurfaced in me, I knew right away these are real memories. This happened. I have no doubt of that. But I knew also from some counseling experience and training, you need to be sure you operate in the proper direction with this. Trying to bury it and run from it out of fear would cause complications, mental complications that would get even worse. In time, it could even become detrimental to your mental health. Deal with it, cope with it. The only reason that there may be any fear issue would be because the memories were of myself interacting with beings and individuals that were non-human. Okay? And what got me through the initial phase of remembering was that within my heart there was a surging sense of love pulsing through me, an emanation coming from a source beyond me, from a female, a hybrid girl for whom I interacted with a long time ago, and I can remember interacting with and seeing, and actually holding in my arms. I hugged her. I even kissed her on her forehead. I can remember her coarse hair on my lips. I can remember looking into her very large eyes. I felt her love. I felt her feelings, her compassion, her desires. I felt everything that she felt and understood everything she knew. I was involved in what you call a military abduction experience. I hold nothing against those people who took me. Soldiers follow orders. I have pity for these people. I feel deeply for them. They're put into extraordinary circumstances, and if you're in the military, I was in the Army, you have to follow orders given to you. Now, if you don't understand that, you've been a civilian all your life, it's difficult for you to understand what these people are put through and what's expected of them. Orders are orders. You're ordered to go out to a battlefield and die, that's what happens. I was not in the Army at the time when this experience happened. In another video clip, I'll go into more details about that experience. But I just need to let you know that the love that we share between us, and I have been feeling her since I've in fact felt her these last 20 years. A lot of the inspirations of my work as an author, a fairy tale author, have come from the feeling and the connection with her. I often believe she was something like an angel or a fairy. Well, I still feel that she is very much an angel and a fairy. She's I didn't plan that, I'm sorry. Sit here and start crying on camera. I might edit that out, I don't know. What I'm saying is, I'm very glad to remember her. I cherish this, what I can remember of her. It means a lot to me. This is not something that frightens me in any way at all. The love I'm feeling with her is very real, very deep. I guess I'm moved by the memories, I'm moved by the loving feelings I'm experiencing, even now sitting in this chair. And often at times when I've been sitting in this house at night, I have felt her, and all of a sudden I get a feeling to go outside, and I go outside. I look up in the night sky, and there's a UFO there. I don't like to say UFO, I'll say craft, because it is identified to me. I know that she's there, or I don't get a direct message, I'm on this ship, Jason. But I definitely get the connection when I walk outside and look up in the sky. I get that connection very strongly. Now in science it says you have to do this more than twice to prove concept. I have gone outside, I can't think how many times now, and that's happened, where I've been called out the backyard and there the craft is sitting in the sky. It's a lot to take on. I don't have an issue with contacting her. I'm quite comfortable with the connection with her and the others. I think living in this world, walking through this daily life, it's people that concern me. It's what's happening on this planet that bothers me. I don't have fear, but I really try to stress to the public and to people I talk to, there's no need for fear. Though I can't speak for all those who visit this planet, what I'm talking about should never scare you. You should never be frightened. In fact, it should feel like it did when you were a child. And you felt very comfortable. And you had a story read to you, things like that. You were cozy and warm, and you were safe. This is the experience I feel, the feelings I have. And that's what I share with her. It's something very special, and a bond that is very unique. And the love is very deep. Thank you for listening.